Hello, everybody. It's Tammy Langowski with Tammy's Channel Chats. Thanks for tuning in and viewing. I am Tammy Langowski, intuitive advisor to your questions, working with clairaudience, clairvoyance. And I like to come on here and give some channel messages. And I love to work with your questions that I can pose to my guides and our angels and source and all that good stuff and see what comes through for you. So before I do that, I wanted to announce something that was really, really fun and exciting for me to participate in. And so recently I was able to work with Bridget Marcourt from the Girls Next Door. Some of you might know her from that. And the Girls Next Door is kind of, I think it was a reality show based on basically the happenings and what was going on as one of the girlfriends of Hugh Hefner's at the Playboy Mansion. So anyway, Bridget is super sweet, super nice person, and I was able to be a guest medium at the Winchester Mystery House in San Jose, California. And that was really, really exciting for me. So I just want to talk about that briefly because I want you to know that it's on I've posted it to my social media as Tammy's Intuitive Services on, let's see, Facebook and Instagram. So you can see it there. You can also view it. It just premiered the other night. So, but you can preview it. Sorry, you can watch it. I'll get the words out on Jungo Plus, which is JUNGOPLUS.com. And the video is on there as Bridget's Haunted Tours at the Winchester Mystery House. So anyway, check it out. It's about 45 minutes long. It was fun. It was, they did a really great job with it. And so I just got to check out some things and be that guest. So that was a real honor for me. So I wanted to mention that to you. Thanks for listening to that. So we've got some questions here that I think are really interesting. There's been quite a few that one of my clients was gracious enough to give me some really great questions to work with. So this one is, when we have an out-of-body experience, does our body go limp when we leave it? Our guides are saying right away, no, it doesn't go limp. Though I understand the question, why you would think that. Not necessarily. Your body is active during this time. So the physical body is active during this time, even if we're leaving our body for out-of-body experience, yes. Because your body is, well, they're showing me this energy that's just like coming out at that time that's happening when somebody's having an out-of-body experience. It's very much alive and awake. I didn't expect to hear that, actually. I kind of thought, yeah, maybe your body just, that you're in this like coma or something when we leave our body, but it sounds like we don't. And what's the purpose, guides, if we can ask that question? What would be the purpose of it, needing all this energy and being kind of energetic? Because the body is working with the soul at this time. Is the body concerned that somebody is having? Would my body be concerned if I was having an out-of-body experience? No, there's no concern. It all works together. But to your question, they said, your body does not go limp. So your body is actively aware of what's happening. If you were to see somebody sleeping, let's say, and they're having an out-of-body experience or in a deep meditation, we may beg to differ and think, well, they're not really moving around a lot, so how can that be? But no, they're going like this. It's hand in hand with the soul. So apparently we don't go limp. Okay. So the next question would be, does time stop when we, sorry, I was just reading the question. Okay. Does time stop when we leave our body? In some ways, yes, they're telling me, because you are in an altered state where time is non-existent, basically, as we know time here. So, but does time stop? I mean, like if we were, leaving our body, and I assume you're kind of meaning, does time stop when you leave your body? I think you mean, again, like if you're having an out-of-body experience. It slows down. They tell me it's like, it will seem like it slows down. So I don't know that it stops completely. It doesn't feel like it stops. It's more like it slows down. So your perception of time is altered during that time, because time is really just irrelevant, isn't it? They just said, when we're not in the physical body. So I would say again to that, it does not necessarily stop. Okay. So just checking my recording, making sure I'm recording. Okay, let's see. This is an interesting question. Is the spirit world another society? Yes and no. They just said. It exists like much of what you might think you perceive your world to be here can be the same when we go to heaven, so to speak, right? When we go back home, there are pods of souls that will have some interests and some things that are similar together. So in a sense, that's like a society, it's a community in that way, but it will be whatever it is that you want it. So is it like another society? It's going to be really wherever you want it, what you want it to be, and where your mind is at. It's going to be more like that. It's not necessarily this or that. So for some, it would be considered like maybe a society. There are souls that will feel comfortable being with other souls that are like-minded, they're telling me. Does a social atmosphere exist back home? I'll say back home, heaven. Does a social atmosphere exist? Yes, yes, yes. They love it too. They're feeling it like it's really exciting, and it's everything you kind of want it to be. So yes, it is definitely a social environment. You will gather with those that you love, that you've known, that you've had experiences with, and there's lots to be had there. They show me parties, and I know this from just my mediumship when I'm talking with others that are on the other side, how they talk about the big reunion party that's there for them, when they cross over. Or my father's mentioned about playing golf. There's lots of things that, yeah, so a social, if that's kind of what you're asking about, does a social atmosphere exist? Definitely. I remember one person I was reading for, and she was asking about somebody who had passed, and that person showed me just going around to all these different people, souls, and talking, and just like really animated and very excited back home on the other side. And then it made sense because I felt like they were relatives, and not that we won't do that anyway, but it was really being emphasized for me. And so the person I was reading for said that she was a genealogist, or very interested in genealogy. And I just started laughing because it made such sense. She was so excited to be there. So that's part of that whole social atmosphere in that way. If we are to learn as humans in our lifetime, what do these lessons lead to? Like, I like the example here. A degree leads to a better job. There's got to be more than guiding humans and a library of history. Yeah, if we are to learn as humans in our lifetime, what do these lessons lead to? More understanding, more compassion, more experience, so that you will be able to bring that knowledge forth into future lifetimes, or working as a guide for somebody if you're not maybe incarnating back into a body. Every lifetime, that's why we emphasize every lifetime is very, very important. No matter if you have a lifetime that seems a bit mundane and not much going on, or maybe it's just very dramatic and a lot of trauma, whatever it might be, all these experiences are helping you understand what others face, what compassion, I will say again, to its ultimate purest degree is. Guides will often tell me that we're really, we're walking, lifetimes are about being able to walk in everybody's shoes in order to really understand what everybody goes through, which leads to ultimate compassion, which is what source is. And that's, as souls, that is a big part of our journey. A big part of what we're doing is ever learning, ever growing, and becoming wiser and more appreciative. And really the goal, the ultimate goal is to be in this source love, but also to be able to help other people with the information that we get. So I hope that answers that question. What do the lessons lead to? Like I said, more compassion, more knowing for sure what it's like, again, to walk in somebody else's shoes. You may be able to, in this lifetime, be able to help somebody. Many people have, of course. If somebody, let's say, has gone through something very traumatic, maybe a loss of a loved one or a child, and then has gone on in this same lifetime to help other people, right? Or to make changes, or to advocate for something that's laws up to be changed. You'll see it play out sometimes in a lifetime. Not saying it won't still travel with that person as when they transition, but if not, then these are acquired by your soul, all of this wonderful knowledge that we acquire, and we will use that in some capacity going forward into future lifetimes. I felt that way even when I was younger. I used to describe it as like, maybe I hadn't gone through what a person was telling me. I remember these even as a child, but I somehow knew and I understood it. It makes me a little emotional talking about that because it's so emotional anyway, but it triggers that for me. So it's like, I just knew it on some level. I understood, and it's probably because I had been through something like that before. And I always thought it was interesting. Even when I was younger, I remember feeling that way. Now I know that's really what it is. Okay, I'll answer one more here on this list. When someone enters the afterlife, what traits do they retain? Ooh, I like that. Memory, personality, knowledge, for example. When someone enters the afterlife, what traits do they retain? Really, most all of them, they're saying. There are going to be some that you will work through that you were not really happy with about yourself, perhaps. And you'll think, okay, I'm gonna work on that a little bit. I don't know if I really want to retain it, but I'm going to acknowledge it, work through it. There are therapy groups in heaven. I've seen them. Meditation groups, I've been told these, that, oh yeah, we get together and we meditate, or, we have like a therapy session, probably with masters and, all that, as you can imagine. So the traits, it's often said that we really will retain a lot of our personality. And that I certainly see when I'm doing mediumship work. A lot of times the personality will come through. And like I said, and then there's some things you'll be very proud of who you are. And then the things that I could work on that, you're going to work through some of that. You'll have opportunity to work through some of that. It's never just thrown on you. You work through it as a soul, knowing that it's to your better interest to be able to take time to do that. So all about that, ultimate compassion thing, right? Knowing more. So I'll answer this part because it's kind of in conjunction to the other one. What does someone lose in the afterlife? Attitudes or ways of thinking? We would say again, no, you don't lose those. What you do is you reflect on them. You reflect on them. So the negatives, like I was mentioning before reading this question here, let's say the things you weren't too proud about, you're going to be addressing those and taking a look at, because you have that life review too. You get to feel what everybody was feeling who was interacting with you. So all the great things you did, you're going to feel it on a soul level, and it's going to feel really good. And then there's the things that, where we said things to people or we did things to people, and we're going to know now what it felt like for them. We'll feel it. And so we'll understand it and we'll work with that. What do I do with this? Am I ready to acknowledge it? Of how, I made somebody feel, and there's some of that karma. Then you incarnate again, and you have an opportunity maybe with that same soul to work some of those things out. Okay. Okay, I'm going to stop at that. So thank you for those great questions. There's more that I look forward to doing for you. And thanks again for, in advance, maybe viewing the Bridget show. And it was really a lot of fun. So thanks for doing that in advance. And we will talk to you next time. Have a great day. Bye-bye.